It's time for the season finale. The WEC is set for one final showdown in 2025, as we return to the Middle East for the season finale, the Bapco Energy's 8 Hours of Bahrain. This event will be a bittersweet one though, as we'll be welcoming new faces while potentially saying goodbye to others, including the possibility that this could be the final WEC appearance for the Porsche 963 hypercar. The key focus is on the title fights, as all three championships will be decided here. Several teams will also be hoping that the BOP or past success helps them to finally achieve breakthrough results. And speaking of the balance of performance, how is that looking ahead of the last race in 2025? So for one final time this season, this is your WEC race preview, getting you up to speed for the finale in Bahrain. Bahrain's endurance race isn't just the last event on the calendar though. It's also the third longest race on the calendar, running for 8 consecutive hours, and one of the few events that transitions from day into night across the schedule. In addition to the season opening Qatar 1812 kilometer and of course Le Mans. This year, a total of 36 cars will take the green flag, split evenly between Hypercar and LMGT3. In Hypercar, 18 entries represent 8 car manufacturers on the grid in Sakhir, including Alpine, Aston Martin, BMW, Cadillac, Ferrari, Peugeot, Porsche, and Toyota. In LMGT3, 18 cars come from 9 different brands, including Aston Martin, BMW, Chevrolet Corvette, Ferrari, Ford, Lexus, McLaren, Mercedes, and finally Porsche with those 911 entries. Now, there are no major entry or lineup changes compared to the previous rounds, but we do have 2 new drivers making their hypercar debuts, which I definitely want to highlight. First up is Théo Pourchaire, who's stepping into the number 94 Peugeot 9X8. The F2 champion has been promoted to a full-time hypercar seat in 2026 with the French marque, and this weekend in Sakhir marks the beginning of that journey. Pourchaire isn't entirely new to endurance racing though, or the WEC. He raced at Le Mans earlier in this year with Algarve Pro Racing thanks to his ALMS campaign with the team in LMP2. He replaces Stoffel Vandoorne for this round, and in an unexpected twist, despite leaving Peugeot this season, Vandoorne will actually be returning to the brand in 2026 after talks with Genesis fell through due to Vandoorne's Formula E commitments. In addition to Pourchaire joining the grid, the other debut comes from Lauren Heinrich, who joins Mathieu Jaminet and Julian Andlauer in the number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport entry. Heinrich is of course the GTD Pro champion from IMSA in 2024, and he is the current star in the Rexy Porsche from AO Racing. The German racer's first WEC appearance will be here in Bahrain, and his debut will come in the Porsche 963, which is a potential preview of a full factory promotion for the German for 2026. Speaking of Porsche, this weekend marks the end of an era for the German manufacturer. Bahrain will be the final WEC race for Porsche Penske Motorsport, at least for the time being, as they could potentially join the grid in 2026 at Le Mans, but that all depends, of course, on Proton. As the most successful brand in the history of Le Mans and the WEC, Porsche's absence from the top class next year is a massive loss for the series. Although there are still plenty of signs suggesting a return could happen soon, as I just recently pointed out. For now though, the focus is on finishing strong and closing this chapter on a high note here in Sakhir. So the Bahrain International Circuit has been a key part in the WEC calendar ever since the championship was reborn in 2012. When Audi and their legendary trio of Benoit Trullier, Andre Lauderer, and Marcel Fassler claimed the victory in the first race with the R18. Since then, Bahrain has hosted 13 WEC races, and 7 of which were ran in the 6-hour duration. As I briefly mentioned, the event's current title sponsor is the integrated energy company Bapco Energies, and historically, Toyota has dominated here with 10 overall victories. Meanwhile, Toyota Gazoo Racing's Mike Conway holds the driver record with 5 overall victories, the latest coming in 2022, in addition to Kamui Kobayashi and Jose Mario Lopez claiming the victory. Speaking of Toyota's dominance, last year's race was won by the number 8 Toyota GR010, driven by Sebastian Buemi, Brandon Hartley, and Ryo Hirakawa, as they took their second consecutive Bahrain win. Over in LMGT3 in 2024, it was Vista AF Corsa on top, as Francois Ario, Simon Mann, and Alessio Rivera drove the number 55 Ferrari 296 GT3 to victory lane in the GT category. Let's now take a look at the BOP ahead of this race in 2025. And let me just tell you now that there are some significant changes for the season finale. Let's start off with Hypercar. And on the power side, the Aston Martin Valkyrie remains the most powerful car on the grid at 520 kilowatts or 697 horsepower, while the Porsche 963 now sits at the bottom of the list. In terms of weight, the Valkyrie is still the lightest hypercar at 1,030 kilograms or 2,270 pounds. And again, Porsche finds itself on the wrong side of the scale, as the 963 is now the heaviest car in the hypercar field. Finally, when it comes to the maximum stint energy, Aston Martin leads once more with 915 megajoules, while the Alpine A424, which won last time out in the 6 Hours of Fuji event, has the lowest figure at 887 megajoules among the 8 hypercar entries here in Sakhir. Now let's move on to LMGT3. On the power side, the Ford Mustang remains the least adjusted car from the baseline power, while the Ferrari 296 sees the biggest changes with P18. For weight, the BMW M4 GT3 Evo is the lightest car at 1,332 kilograms or 2,936 pounds, while the Ferrari 296 is once again the heaviest car. Finally, on stint energy, the Mercedes AMG GT3 leads with 705 megajoules, while the Aston Martin Vantage sits at the bottom with the smallest number, 665 megajoules for that car. This race takes place on the Bahrain International Circuit, which was opened on the 17th of March in 2004, and is located in the Sakhir Desert. The WEC uses the Grand Prix layout, which is also used in Formula 1. And it features 15 turns, 7 to the left and 8 to the right, encompassing a 5.412 kilometer or 3.363 mile circuit. And just to clarify, despite being an endurance race, the WEC does not use the extended endurance layout that Formula 1 tried back in 2010. Now, as I pointed out a moment ago, the big factor heading into this race are those championship battles, as the titles in Hypercar and LMGT3 will be decided in this event. In the Hypercar Drivers' Championship, the 51 Ferrari didn't score any points because it got multiple penalties in the race, which means that the points gap between the 51 and the 83 has shrunk to just 13 points. Because it's finished in the top 4 in the last 4 rounds since Le Mans, the number 6 Porsche is still mathematically within the championship hunt to secure back-to-back titles, as this car just sits 21 points behind in 3rd place. Then comes the number 12 Cadillac Hertz Team Jota V Series R, with the number 50 Ferrari rounding out the top 5. On the next page of the Hypercar standings, the number 7 Toyota has moved into 6th ahead of the number 38 Cadillac from Hertz Team Jota, with the number 5 Porsche Penske now tied on points with the 38 car. The number 93 Peugeot has now moved into 9th after its successful points finish at Fuji, with the number 20 WRT BMW now concluding the top 10. In the Hypercar Manufacturers' Championship, Ferrari continues to lead the standings with 204 points, but just 39 points behind is Porsche in P2. Cadillac and Toyota are still in 3rd and 4th respectively, with the Japanese marque now moving above 100 points in the standings. Following their win at the 6 Hours of Fuji, Alpine has jumped into 5th with 84 points, and the gap is now just 3 points between 6th and 7th, BMW just ahead of Peugeot, with Aston Martin once again rounding off the top 8. Moving on to the LMGT3 standings, and the number 92 Manthey First Form Porsche continues to lead with 105 points, but the number 21 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari has closed the gap to just 11 points heading into Bahrain. TF Sport have their entries in 3rd and 4th in the standings. The Fuji winning number 81 Corvette sits ahead of the Qatar winning number 33 Corvette, with the number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin still in the top 5. The number 87 Akotis ASP Lexus follows in 6th, with the number 54 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari right behind. Then comes the 46 WRT BMW, the 78 Akotis ASP Lexus, and the number 59 McLaren rounds off the top 10. So as for the schedule and how you can watch this race live this year, the event is set to take place on Saturday, November 8th, starting at 2 p.m. local time, and you'll be able to view the 8-hour event by going to FIAWEC.tv, which is where the official broadcast will be streamed. And if that is not an option, make sure to check your area's specific streaming source. For example, I'm in North America, so I'll be watching on the HBO Max streaming service. And also, don't forget to check out the live streams here on this channel, as my team and I will be covering the entire event live this year. So there you have it. We are approaching one final WEC race in 2025, and I just know that it's going to be epic. There are some massive storylines to follow in this event, such as an intense title fight that is going to be a showdown that you definitely do not want to miss. So it's time to begin the last race in the season, the Bapco Energy's 8 Hours of Bahrain.